One of the major challenges in the boat sequence was how to, sell the idea that this was happening at sea, that they were floating on water, and yet we're in a car park in Northern Ireland.
The visual effects process and bringing a scene to life that doesn't really exist in a real practical world takes a lot of creativity and imagination.
The most challenging aspect of the sea battle is the number of shots. It's a very quick cut scene, and it's about the pacing, and it's fast. I mean, it's like a machine gun. We had green screens 60 feet high, all the way around the ship. So there isn't really a direction that the camera can face that we don't have to do something.
We can hold them off.
We needed to sell speed, and we needed to shoot elaborate dragon points of view.
To do those kinds of shots, we're relying on two different camera platforms. One is what's called Spider Cam. This is basically a camera rigged to a cable run between two construction cranes, and they can move the camera very quickly from one end to the other, and the camera can go about 70 miles per hour.
We also used a company called Flycam, which is like a souped-up drone. It's like a small helicopter. They were also able to go very fast and have a much more solid image to be able to work with than you would get from a traditional drone.
So we can fly over things safely and also have interactive effect on the ground and capture all those elements that will have a dragon either in front of the lens or above the lens.
The battle is going to rely very heavily on visual effects at the end of the day. There's a lot of different beats to the attack.
Sort of like cowboys and Indians and fire-breathing dragons all rolled up into one.
There's Drogon breathing lots of fire, setting lots of things and people on fire.
To give an idea, in season 6, which was our biggest season up to that point, we had 11 shots that featured Amelia riding the dragon. In the loot train, we have over 80.
It's very new ground that we're trying to figure out. This dragon who's, 100 feet up in the air, who breathes fire of a column of 30 feet wide, that you're like, okay, how the hell are you going to do that?
You've got Amelia on the back of a motion base that's animated to fly in concert with the animation on the dragon.
So that the thing she's moving on is moving around as if she was really riding on Drogon, but in a stage in Belfast in front of green screen.
So being on this theme park ride, which is kind of what it is, and you're strapped in, then looking like you are controlling it, when there's so much going on, you just got to harness every single bit of imagination you have and just use it. I mean, can you even imagine being on the back of a reptile that's breathing fire at your command? That's huge.
What we had to go through to get the zombie polar bear was writing the zombie polar bear into every season of the show for about 4 seasons.
We thought they'd be so excited to do a zombie bear, and it's kind of like, oh my God, they're serious about doing this fucking zombie bear.
Only to have Bernie and the visual effects guys tell us in the nicest possible way, fuck you, we cannot afford a zombie polar bear. This year made perfect sense that you could have one of these things out there, and we really put our 4 feet down and we said, God damn it, we want a zombie polar bear.
We looked at some of the beats, the way the polar bear in the previews that we got, how it spots the guy's away, how it picks someone up and shakes him around, and then we get our wires in and start rehearsing with guys using different methods to pull someone around and get the right body shapes and the right energy.
Everything's made sure it's super safe first. We test everything over and over again, usually with a weight bag, and when we're happy that it's safe to have someone on, we get someone on.
We were holding the flaming sword in the jaws of this thing, so the big guy was able to move the head around. which was something for our actor on the floor to work against.
I've never really worked with this ping pong ball thing and pretend that's a bear, and I've had people going, oh, when I'll come towards you, I'm a bear. No, you're not. Your name's Toby.
The sequence had been so well conceived on a visual level by Alan and his team. To do that with hundreds of people and weather and visual effects and fire with lots of moving parts and still have that sense of artistry about it takes a different level of directing.
3, 2, 1,
Our story is 7 guys on a rock being attacked by whites and trying to tell a clear story of, your task is to defend a perimeter, and as you lose, your perimeter's going to fall back, and how do you kind of hold order against just pure chaos? It's, herding kittens. It's, you can't see anything except people whacking each other, and it takes some effort to talk to the cast to sort of say, no, the story is, here's a line, and we have to show that it's not being broken or that it is being broken. It was important to create a situation where I'm hoping the audience will think that one of our beloved characters is going to die.
I mean, we wrote it and we were watching it, and I was thinking, I was like, holy shit, Tormund's gonna die. But somehow, he managed to override my rational brain and make me think that Tormund was gonna die.
Original intention was to dig out the areas on location where people would need to fall through the ice. And then it became clear to everyone that probably the temperatures were going to be so terribly cold. We figured out if we use motion control, then we could achieve it on stage.
Where the whites fall through the ice, we're doing those as separate set pieces, and then building rigs to drop underneath the ice to take the weight of the actors and then allow them to drop through.
Even though we've got 10 guys falling in while the camera's moving, by the time we're finished, we've got 100 guys falling in and the camera's moving 5 times as far.
Everyone's always like, oh, you get to shoot in a tank, great. No. It's the end of the season and I get plunged into cold water with a full costume on. It's gonna be miserable.
Well, it's funny how times have changed. In season 2, the dragon was riding on Danny's shoulder, and now Danny's riding on the dragon's shoulder. And when Danny gets on and off the dragon, it's sort of like wheeling up the stairs to a 747. We've modeled the dragon and then laser cut this full-scale giant piece of polystyrene to create a section of the dragon's back that is living on the island at the frozen lake.
I've got a bit of climbing to do on that contraption with a person on my shoulder. I just hope I can do it. Well, I've never flown a dragon before. I'm sure we'll be fine, just hang on.
This year, things are a little bit beefier. We have a bigger motion base, we have a bigger buck.
It's a lot harder, especially for Amelia. It's one thing to act in a room with somebody and to draw on your considerable resources as an actor. It's another thing to have a situation that's supposed to incorporate the same level of emotion, but in the most artificial environment you can possibly imagine. It's the opposite of walking in costume through Iceland.
The harder the challenge, the more I relish it. But this really, you're like, can I just even maybe have like a screen with like clouds or something? Like, I've never flown on a dragon. And to just harness that power, can you even imagine?
The fire column slicing the ice, we wanted to make sure that it looked like a cutting torch and it's exploding the ice, atomizing the ice immediately. So we worked with Sam's team again, and when you see it, it really is awesome.
We knew that the Night King would see and seize this opportunity, and like to think that when the dragon dies, that it's kind of a nice 1-2 punch, because on the one hand, you're just seeing the horror of one of these the three only unique, amazing beings like this in the world, going under the water and not coming up again, and you're processing that. Then you're processing something that's even worse, which is when it comes back out from under the water again. The eyes of the White Walkers and the Whites have been such a prominent feature of the show, and a lot of work has gone into the specifics of how the eyes look, and to see that hopefully iconic image at this point blown up to the size of, you know, a beach ball, that seemed like it was an inherently crowd-pleasingly oh shit moment for everybody.
I think, starting with the Army of the Dead, basically why that's really important is that this is the common enemy. This is like the bottom line. This is what everybody in the end is going to have to face. It's the enemy that is beyond all enemies. It's like the one thing that nobody really knows how to fight. And so the big question is, are these people going to get their act together? Are they going to figure out a way to fight the big enemy, or are they going to just eat each other alive before that even happens?